right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today. Nick Walker responds to the clip of Derek Lunsford from yesterday, an interview that Derek did on Bob Ciccarello's YouTube channel, The Voice of Bodybuilding. There was a specific part of that interview, if you guys didn't see my video yesterday about this topic, where Derek is talking about the Pittsburgh Pro. He's talking about competing against Nick, and he says, Nick should be thankful for the opportunity that I gave him to even stand next to me at the Pittsburgh Pro, because that level of competition that Derek brought to the Pittsburgh, he says, brought more attention to Nick's physique. And there was a lot of discussion about this yesterday. Nick even reposted the video on his story and said nothing like a good laugh on a Monday. And then he followed that up with a comment on the original post on Beyond the Stage TV, which was like a clip of this interview from Bob Ciccarello and Derek Lunsford. And Nick says, ain't this some shit? And frankly, I think this rivalry is a really interesting one. I'm always surprised to see in a situation like this, the amount of people that seem to hate Derek Lunsford recently is kind of crazy to me. I mean, he was getting flamed in those comments. And I always say, when it comes to these bodybuilding back and forths, the kind of trash talking that makes a show more exciting, as long as they're not getting personal with it, they're not getting violent with it, they're not making threats with it, I think it only makes the show better. It adds this extra layer to a bodybuilding show that doesn't exist otherwise. Most of the rivalries, if you think about it, where they don't have a back and forth outside of the stage, that rivalry is really only created by the fans. And if they never go back and forth, there's really nothing to it besides fans, just two separate fan bases kind of pitting them against each other, which is kind of what was happening with Derek and Nick. Their fan bases have been kind of clashing ever since the Pittsburgh show and maybe even a little bit before that. But now that they're both on their own feeding into this, it adds this extra layer of, okay, maybe there is something real here where these guys don't like each other, and now we're more invested in seeing what happens, who places higher between the two at the Olympia, because there seems to be something actually bitter here going on between them. And I think the interesting thing about this to me is actually how mild this trash talk really is compared to like really anything else. I mean, watch a UFC press conference or something. Think about what Derek is saying literally in this clip. He's saying Nick should thank me for being able to flex next to me on stage. That's the literal terms of what he's saying. It's pretty mild, passive-aggressive. I don't even know if you could call it trash talk or beef or drama. And I think that kind of shows how mild a lot of these bodybuilding rivalries really are, because basically everybody is talking about this clip in the past 24 hours and talking about Nick's response. But just think about, in literal terms, how mild what Derek is saying here is. It's not a threat. It's not a personal slight. It's not an ad hominem attack. He's not talking about his family. He's saying, Nick should thank me for flexing next to me. That's what he's saying here. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with this type of back and forth between bodybuilders. There's really nothing to it. There's no substance to what they're saying that you could really even get mad about. And it seems like from reading the comments, maybe the perception of Derek and the reason why he's getting so much hate in these comment sections is, I guess the perception of him seems to be that he's fake, like a fake nice guy, I guess is the perception based on some of these comments. And I think people have the view that when a clip like this comes out of Derek, it's like the real Derek showing and not this, like Mr. Perfect persona that he has. And I think maybe to an extent I could see where that's coming from. I mean, I don't like when bodybuilders are kind of having this back and forth and having this trash talk. I actually don't like when they kind of trash the other guy and then turn around and say, oh, well, Nick's a great bodybuilder, I really like him. I mean, just leave that part out. If you're going to trash talk somebody, just trash talk them, because then it makes it seem fake. Nick's great, I really like him, but he's lucky to get to stand next to me. I mean, it's just like that juxtaposition doesn't really make sense. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I do think it's interesting to see how many fans seem to have turned on Derek really quickly, when it seems like this time a year ago, Nick Walker was kind of in this situation where all the fans had kind of turned on him. He had missed 2 Olympias in a row. And then, all this, the cocky persona that Nick Walker had is now being projected onto Derek. And that's the reason, or at least the reason people are saying in the comments, they don't like Derek now is because he's not humble like Samson, he's too cocky, etc. But it's interesting because I feel like that's exactly what people were saying about Nick like this time last year. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, the competitor list for the Texas Pro, which is this weekend, just got posted tonight. And you're essentially getting almost a 1-to-1 rematch. Everybody from the Tampa Pro at this show, except for John De La Rosa. I think he's like the only top guy missing here. So you've got Justin Abbott, Kareth Baggio, Christian Caldwell, Alfonso Cromartie, Mark Arthur Daughtry, Quinton Araya is back, Quint Beastwood is back, Jermaine Henry, Paul Henson, Jordan Hutchinson, who won the Tampa Pro, is back, Anthony Gell is back, John Jewett, who is fourth, he's back, Matt Kuba, Dean Lawrence, Morgan McDonald, Patrick Moore, who was seventh, he's back, Bruno Santos, who was fifth, he's back, Emir Omaragic, he was in the top 10, Matt O'Reilly, Joe Palacios, who was third, Ken Woo Park, Yun Long Pin, Drake Sanders, Justin Savoy, Justin Shire, Beef Stew, who was ninth, he's back for this. Michael Von Rotz is back. Actually, I don't even know if he did the Tampa Pro. I just like that name, Von Rotz. Now, I think obviously what a lot of people want to see here is the rematch between Jordan and Quinton. There's a lot of people that wanted Quinton to win that show, thought Quinton was winning. And I think obviously there's a lot of people that thought Jordan won that show. I don't think it was that controversial of a result. I think Jordan was clearly conditioned from head to toe, and I think it was a deserved victory for sure. But Quinton got probably the biggest cosign you could possibly get going into a show, and that was from reigning Mr. Olympia Samson Dauda, who posted a story after the Tampa Pro saying what a great guy Quinton is, and he says that Quinton is for sure going to win the Texas show.
He's going to join us in Olympia this year without a doubt, man. He's just brought his best physique to the stage right now, and that says a lot. That says a lot, and I think, man, he looks absolutely remarkable, and I know for a fact he's going to be at Olympia with us this year. He's going to win Texas, man. Look, just watch. And in terms of what he needs to do, look, we do this show when we get off stage and the judges tells us exactly what they want to see from us. All you gotta do is don't listen to nobody else. They don't have to, just listen to what the judges tell you, and then you're gonna be there and you've been kicking ass in Texas. And I know they told you exactly what you need to do to win Texas, so just do that.
So that's a pretty big cosign. And I want to second that. I think that if Quinton can come in a little bit tighter in the upper body at this Texas show, he can definitely win. And I think that's the exciting result, is seeing two shows back to back that have a different result in the top two, and then you get two more names added to the Olympia qualified competitor list. I just think that Quinton is right there. He's so close, and it really just comes down to that condition. I think he needs to carry that condition all the way through the show. I think that if you look at the big point swing that was on the scorecards that we talked about yesterday, from prejudging to finals, I don't think Quinton held the condition as well in the finals as he did at the prejudging. That has to be the reason for that big of a swing, and it must have been a very noticeable difference to the judges that it was that big of a point swing. I didn't think he looked bad at the finals, but looking back, he definitely looked better at the prejudging. But I'm definitely interested to see with this competitor list how much different the placings are going to look like. Again, the only guy absent is John De La Rosa, so you've got basically all the same guys. Will these placings switch up depending on what kind of shape these guys are in? Like one guy, for example, that I want to see hopefully get some redemption here, Beef Stew. He put up a couple posts that it seemed like people really appreciated, taking kind of accountability for how he looked. This is the one that he posted today. These were shots that he says were from 10 a.m. on Saturday after his final coat of tan. So this was a few hours before stepping on stage. I believe they stepped on stage a little bit after 1 p.m., so maybe 3 hours before prejudging here. So he says, I will preface this, no excuses, just an explanation. I take full responsibility for my F up here. Took these last check-in pics at 10 a.m. Saturday, my final coat of tan. Walked out of my hotel feeling very confident. Over the course of the next 3 hours between taking these and getting on stage, I just deflated. Too little water left in me, and the food I was eating at that point wasn't sticking to help hold the fullness I had in the morning. Some of you might ask, why are you manipulating water? That never goes well. This seems to be a more new school-like reasoning. I need to taper my water down over 2 to 3 days to get fully dry. Sometimes I need a bit of a diuretic. Sometimes I don't. Some bodies just need water. Some bodies just need some water manipulation. Overall, mine doesn't need much. The protocol I followed was something I've done many times before and never backfired like this. The reason it failed this time was twofold. I have more muscle this year and therefore need more fluid to stay full, And more frustratingly and stupidly, I underpacked food for the trip. He ran out of tuna and salmon the night and rice the morning of the show. So he ran out of food. All he had left was 2 Rice Krispie bars and muffins and notoriously Walmart Great Value fake Snicker bars. The stuff actually worked. Great for his body, etc., etc. So essentially, I think what a lot of people appreciated about these posts, I'll show you guys the other one too, is like this last part of the paragraph here. Again, no excuses, just an explanation. I feel I owe it to any of you that consider yourself fans of mine, and I guess I also owe it to myself. I'm capable of much better than I displayed this past weekend. I know what I need to do for Texas. I'll have everything I need at home base, and I'll communicate better with my coach. Rant over. So hopefully this is one of the guys that could potentially get that redemption that he's looking for at the Texas show, because with a 9th place placing in Tampa, I think there's a lot of room for him to move up if he's able to nail his peak for this show. I don't think his issue was size. I don't think he had any lagging body parts. His issue is exactly what he said. It was fullness, missing his peak, and his conditioning was off. And he seems to understand and maybe even know exactly how to fix that. So I think there could be a lot of room for him to move up here. I mean, you can see the picture that we're looking at here in this post looks nothing like how he looked on stage. And this was the same day, the morning of, hours before. But I also think that this initial post right after Tampa was something that fans really appreciated, was really the accountability and just kind of self-deprecating tone of this post. He says, but I forgot my pen, shit the bed again, typical Tool Rosetta Stone. Blew it in Tampa, 9th. This is becoming a theme. I'm progressively getting worse at this sport by placings. I'll put together a proper write-up of what went wrong on my professional muscle forum thread, which is essentially what he posted in that other caption. But he goes on to say, should go without saying, but this is my responsibility and my mistake. I was very close to nailing a new best look and fucked it into the wall at the end. For the love of God, do not comment, make excuse, or cope on my behalf. That's super whack. Only person to blame is myself, as it always is. Also, if you tell me to get a new coach, I'm blocking you immediately. Blue, as always, was great. I failed to communicate properly with him, so he wasn't aware of what was going on. Texas is up next, but maybe I'll make some kind of redemption out of this mess. Maybe I'll screw it all up again. Who knows? That's what makes it fun, I guess. So Stu, definitely somebody I'm rooting for here, and somebody that I do think has a shot at redemption. Now, I will say I'm going to do a full, once we get some more recent updates from some of these guys, even though we just saw most of them on stage in Tampa, probably tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm going to do a full Texas Pro preview video with as many recent updates, recent posts as I can find from these guys. But I think the biggest factor, and the reason why I just spent so much time on Stu here, is how different can some of these guys look from how they looked in Tampa. I think that's the biggest factor that could make these Texas placings look a lot different. And I think there's a lot of guys in this lineup like Stu that have that they have that room to come in looking a lot different. But anyway, let me know your guys' predictions for Texas. How different or how similar do you think it's going to go to the Tampa results? Let me know in the comments below. That's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.